Actually, we just hit 10 people on here. Okay, guys, let's jump into
Nice.
it and get started with today's hiring panel. Um, so, I'm Amar, as everyone knows. I run ZenMaid, and I'm very excited to have on Debbie Sardone, Pam Washington, and Elena LeDoux, who are all hiring, not just hiring, but maid service. I don't want to say gurus. I want to say like I don't know, gods, goddesses. I'm not sure. You guys are all at the top of your game.
Wizard.
Yeah. When it comes to hiring, so I'm really excited to have you guys on here. And I don't know if you guys are expecting this, but based on the interest that we've had, this is going to be by far our biggest Facebook live stream. I think we're going to have 50 people or more on here, like live by the end of it. So I'm really looking forward to it. Why don't we just do a quick round of introductions, just a little bit about your guys' history, story that brought you to this point, and then I guess maybe where like your business is currently at, how many employees you have, and like what your role is like actually in hiring. I know there's a variety of experience here, so I think it'd be cool to hear that from you guys. Debbie, why don't you go first? Sorry, I'm not used to doing this.
Okay, thank you. Debbie Sardone, near Dallas, Texas. I've owned my cleaning business for over 35 years. We do about $1.5 million in business every year. We have about 35 employees. I have a completely 100% hands-off business. I don't go in anymore. I spend all my
No, I'm
time
talking. Okay.
doing
Is
business
it or is it mixed
consulting and
here?
training.
It's because awesome. Oh, forgot I was on mute there for a second. Pam, you're up next.
Okay, so I am in Las Vegas and I run sort of three different businesses. I have a commercial cleaning business, I have a residential cleaning business, and then I have my coaching business where I coach cleaning business owners. I created and set up the hiring process that we use. The only part in which I'm still active is I make the final job offer phone call. Um, I feel like that kind of should be done by the business owner. So I do that. And we have a very kind of step by step process, which we might be able to go over today. So that's where I fit in the process. I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada. And so that's me.
And just quickly, because you're in Las Vegas, I guess Elena's in Las Vegas as well, but will all three of you guys be at the ARCSI event in what is it? Is it in September this year? Will you guys all be there? Yeah? Good.
Yes.
Okay, everyone
Yes.
watching, you
Yep.
guys can come meet these three all-stars in Las Vegas, September 10th to September 14th at the ARCSI convention. So check that out. All right, thank you, Pam. Let's see. Lena, you are next.
Hi everyone. I'm just excited to be here. I don't know how I ended up in this company, but I'm super thrilled. So my company name is Superb Maids. So we are only 2 years old. We have about 50 employees, like more or less. And hiring is a big issue for us. So I dedicate disproportionate amount of time on hiring and training and onboarding people. So I think that's a very exciting topic.
Okay, very cool. And you actually, a couple people had mentioned you, Elena, when I had asked about like the hiring panel. But I know that you'd put out a really good article, I think, on your actual maid service like blog, right? Like on your
Yes.
actual like company blog that was about like hiring. That was a very like good article. So yeah, we can link people to that after if they want to check it out. Um, and so, how many cleaners did you have again? Don't you have
Around 50,
around
because
50?
when we our hiring processes, even when we have a testing or trial period, we actually consider them employees, like
Okay.
because I can't see any other good way to do it. So we
Yeah.
put them through all the forms. So, but they're not true employees, but total about 50.
Okay, gotcha.
That includes
You've
me.
essentially got 20 cleaners that you're, or 20 50 cleaners that you're managing at any one time, and then they eventually will become like full time. Um, all
Yes.
right. Well, since we have you right now, why don't we start with the first question that people were asking? So I mean, you have 50 cleaners that you're like managing on a regular basis now, what's like the one thing, if you could go back and give yourself one piece of advice before you hired your first cleaner, what would it be?
I would say hire for the attitude more than anything else rather than the aptitude. Because I remember when we were first starting out, I was so nervous about hiring people. And we're really looking for, because we didn't know what we are doing, we're looking for people who are experienced cleaners, right? So we basically only looked at if they say, oh, I worked in Mandarin Oriental for 5 years or 20 years, so I had my own cleaning company. We'd be like, yes, please come and work for us. But actually, that was completely a wrong approach, and we got burnt so many times by this. And I realized that some of our best performers were people with very little cleaning experience, but with an amazing attitude. So I would say, going back, I would say, please don't do that. Don't chase people who are like superstars and divas. That's not the right way.
Okay, cool. Uh, Pam, what would your response to that question be, or do you want to add on? I saw both you and Debbie nodding pretty vigorously with that. So
Yeah, I sort of go back and forth. I think in my commercial business, I do still look for people with experience, and I find that very helpful. In the residential, though, I agree that that character and integrity are more important. But the thing that I wish I knew now, or that I had known 24 years ago when I started my business, I spent probably a decade thinking and saying to myself, if I can just get this part figured out, if I can just get my employees set, if I can just get all that dialed in and stabilized and taken care of, then I'm going to be set. And what I've since realized is that you never get to that point. You never get it all done. It's a work in progress because we're dealing with human beings. We're not dealing with widgets.
yeah.
So once I took that pressure off of myself and just realized that it's always going to be changing and moving and a work in progress, then it just took a lot of pressure off. It made it a much more, I'm able to enjoy the journey and not just so focused on arriving at that destination, because you never get there. You never get it all done. I wish I had known that 24 years ago. So it took me probably 10 years to figure that out.
Nice, nice. And Debbie, do you want to answer that?
Yeah. Just to keep it short, I would say the thing I wish I knew a long time ago is if I need one new cleaner, hire two.
Want to answer that?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hang on. We
Okay.
just got to mute everyone. There's just a bit of an echo. Can you just repeat that? I think there might have been a little interference.
If the thing I wish I knew a long time ago
Yep.
is if I need one cleaner, hire two. If I need two people, hire four. And
Okay.
realizing that just because you hired somebody today does not mean you've solved your problem.
Okay.
So hire more than you need because they'll weed themselves out.
Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely that makes a lot of sense. If you need one person, hire two. I know that I'd heard at the last ARCSI convention that it's something like for every 4 cleaners that you bring on, only one will be with you like a year later. I don't know if it's actually true or where that came from, but yeah,
Well,
that
it
sounds about right.
should be better than that, but for sure during that initial hiring phase where they're still proving themselves and they're still learning whether or not they can handle this job physically, and nobody knows it till they start.
Yeah,
It's a good idea to hire more than you need.
absolutely. Okay. Debbie, since we have you here for to answer the next question, so a lot of our members are having issues with like essentially attracting the right kind of employees and applicants and cleaners, and so obviously you advocate hiring a lot of people and giving them a chance, seeing how they perform and stuff. But the specific question that we'd gotten, I forget who it was that had asked it in like the comments or whatever, was how do you, I guess, structure your ads? Like, what are you doing in the initial ad that you're listing, or like the offer that you're making and all of that? What sort of actions are you taking to attract the right kind of people to your cleaning business?
One of the first things I teach people is for you to attract the right kind of people, you need to be the right kind of job. And so many people are focused on the external. They're focusing on them. There's something wrong with them. I'm getting the wrong people. I'm getting a bunch of lazy people or uninterested people. And the reality is the type of ad you write oftentimes will attract a certain type of person and not interest other types of people. So when I was preparing for this tonight, I pulled up a couple of emails from some of my clients that said, could you please review my ad and tell me what you think? And I was instantly struck with how, and I've seen this a lot, how cleaning businesses tend to write their job ads in a very negative way. And they state up front all the rules and all the expectations, and this is what we're looking for. And I had one person in particular send me an ad that said, what do you think of this? And the way the ad started, it started with a phrase like, our company is focused entirely on satisfying customers and providing top quality service for our customers. Our customers come first, and we're looking for cleaners who will put our customers first. And then they listed all the rules and all the expectations. You must have a driver's license, a vehicle. You must be willing to work Saturdays if asked. You must. And I thought, my goodness, I got depressed just reading that ad. And that is not going to attract the right kind of people. And so instead I said, look at the ad as if you were writing it to the best, the cream of the crop, instead of always writing your ads to try to ward off the dregs of society. Forget them. And so I encouraged her to lead with a positive offer instead of just, you know, we're looking for this, we need this, we want this, you must this. So instead I encouraged her to write her ad, and I wrote some things down. Start with something like, and of course always needs to be truthful, top pay to clean houses, paid vacation, health insurance, full-time, a big paycheck, Monday through Friday. You never have to work nights or weekends. We never require you to work holidays. It's perfect for family, women, or whatever. So think about structuring your ad to lead with the positives. And then if you have room and it's online, you can end with, but since we're only looking for the best, you need to be able to pass these minimum qualifications to apply. Click here to apply. But lead with a positive instead of with the negatives.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people don't, they don't think about their employee hiring and writing ads as like marketing, because they're not marketing to customers. But the truth is that when someone sees an ad for your cleaning business, you're marketing to your potential employees, and you want to emphasize these are all the things that you'll get and that you'll benefit by working for us, and then you introduce the requirements once you have them like hooked. All right, that's really good. Let's see what Pam adds on to that. Yeah.
You're marketing to the best employees, and that's really the approach and the mindset we need to have.
Absolutely. Pam, go ahead.
Amar actually took the words right out of my mouth.
Sorry.
So that's okay. No, that was the thing that I was going to say, is that, you know, I see people posting things like, you know, clean background check, or car and license required. They'll have things in all caps, which is the equivalent of shouting online, and it doesn't make a good impression. So I say to, you know, the people that I coach, if you want to attract the top talent, and especially nowadays because the labor market is quite tight, so if you want the cream of the crop applicants to come and apply to work for you, you do want to focus on what you have to offer. And just like we spend a lot of time in our minds thinking about what is the ideal client that I would like to attract, also think about the ideal candidate, and what do you have to offer that would attract them. And it's not always just goodies, you know, like money and pay and paid vacation, but like Debbie was saying, things like unlimited time off, or make your own schedule, things like that. If you take the time to really define what you have to offer as an employer, just like you did when you were marketing to attract your clients, what sets you apart? What makes you a more attractive place to work? Why would somebody want to come and work with you? And feature those things in your ad. I think that would be really helpful.
Awesome. Sorry, I'm getting the muting on and off here down. Elena, do you want to go ahead? Pam, we'll start with you for the next question, just so you know.
Sure. So we basically do the same thing as what Debbie and Pam were describing. Okay. We start from the customer, our ideal customer, for example, or not even ideal, but most of our customers are either older retired couples, or like grandma and grandpa type, or the professional women with kids. And so the type of person they want to see in their home and they feel most comfortable with, and the kind of person who also works really well for our company, is kind of very innocent, very pulled together, very organized, very clean cut, very polite person, maybe educated, well-spoken, very quiet, that type of person. So to attract that person, the ad reads accordingly. We try to appeal. That kind of person looks for support, respect, kind of, I don't want to say hand-holding, but more support from the company. Emotional support, professional support. They look for growth opportunities because they always want to learn. They want us to support them in pursuing their career or their education and things like that. So we put that into the ad. And so it's much more likely to attract that kind of person. Obviously, if we're going, that fits with our company brand and personality. We're more kind of calm and kind of minimalistic company. We're not about, loud, we'll give you money, and we're not that fun, we're more serious. And so the ads are more serious, but they're more calm. And the kind of person we're looking for is kind of attracted with that type of ad. So it's all consistent.
Okay,
across the
cool.
board.
I love how in line those three answers were. Like, well, here's definitively how you write a good ad for your cleaners. So I really love that. Okay, next question. Hang on, let me pull this up here quick. The next question that we have is, I get the feeling this is going to be a pretty short one, but what do you guys do about low quality applicants? You guys have just been talking about top talent and everything, but a lot of our people are struggling with low quality applicants. And from what I could tell, what they meant by that was when they have a lot of people that are applying to their ads or applying to join their company as a cleaner, but very few of them are making it actually all the way through the process to get hired. Of what do you guys do when you run into to that problem? And Pam, you are going to go first. Let me just unmute you quick. Hang on.
Please, I think we should. It's Elena. You usually, don't you?
Yeah, we can go back to Elena. I just thought we would just vary it up, because they'd answer the questions first. So if you just want to answer first this time, yeah, go for it.
Okay. So actually, I don't worry about low quality applicants. I know that the process is a weeding out process, and so I look at it that way. So if I get 100 applications, but only 60 of them even meet the minimum requirements for us to call them or contact them and invite them for an initial pre-screening, then I just feel like, okay, well, I'm weeding it out. I'm getting closer to those ideal people that I'm looking for. So I just sort of know that, and I don't let it bother me. And as they sort of continue to eliminate themselves through the process, I say to myself, well, that's great, because I dodged a bullet. It's better that I find out now that that is not the person that I'm looking for, rather than after I already hire them. So I don't let the numbers bother me. I know that's just sort of part of the process, and I just expect it, and I don't really concern myself with it.
Okay, cool. Debbie?
Because there will be a lot of people applying, especially when you use online boards like Indeed and ZipRecruiter, we turn the whole thing into an automatic process as best we can before we get to the point where we'll spend time with them. So they'll get an automatic email response when they send us a resume that says, thank you for your interest in the job. We're looking for, people with high energy. Please click here to apply. And then we make them go to our website and fill out our online application, which creates an extra step. Mm-hmm. So people who aren't interested, they just never go there. And if they take the time to read the email and click and fill it out, then we can review the information. We've already cut through more than 50% because we're not going to respond to people who just send us resumes. And then we'll call them. Somebody in my office, literally, we have somebody who sets appointments, and she will call and invite them to the interview with a little bit of pre-screening over the phone. And then all the interviews are set up at certain times where my office manager interviews them. And if they no-show, it's no big deal to us. So she's kind of got them all back to back. She double stacks them because we can count on probably 50% no-show that you set as an interview.
Okay.
And if she lucks out and more people show up than we expected, then they'll have to wait a little bit. But we try to turn it into a little bit of an assembly line.
Okay. Gotcha.
Until we like them. Then we treat them a little more personally.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sounds like you guys are like batching all the work. You've got like a little factory of cleaners, just like walking in the door, walking back out, walking in the door, walking back out.
All the little chocolates running by.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. Elena, how much are you dealing with like low quality applicants? Do you just pretty much like ignore them or like filter them out, or is that like an issue for you at all?
It is an issue, and we actually developed kind of a similar process to Debbie's.
Okay.
It's like an obstacle course. If you want to work for a company, you have to go through so many steps, and you see the ad on Indeed, and it looks interesting, exciting. At the bottom of the ad, there's a link to apply, the online application, and we only review applications that came through that link. We don't even touch anyone who just submitted, like click, and then here I am. So we don't look at those. The application itself is very lengthy. It's very detailed. It's asking for things, even like how do you clean, or what was your worst experience with the employer? What's your dream job? And all these things are pretty involved and annoying to answer. So you would only go through that if you really want that job and if you're diligent enough to go through all the way. And so once they apply through that, and then we have a hiring manager, and then she would actually review the application, and she will choose the best candidates, and she will contact them saying, please provide your references, and also please contact me when you're ready for an interview by Skype. So that saves us a lot of time. So she'll say, please text me on that number on that day. And I know Pam does something similar where you put the burden on them, and that way, and sometimes you will see an applicant and you'll just fall in love with them. You say, I really want to work with that person, but if they don't follow through, if they don't, if they don't do anything, they don't take the steps, then you have to let them go. You can't run and chase after them. And I learned that lesson pretty quickly.
Okay, cool. For you and Debbie, we will, for all the listeners, we will get you guys links to those like applications if you guys have those like publicly, so people can take a look. I wanted to loop back to something. It's not really a question for you guys, but I wanted to loop back to something for everyone that's watching. That some of you may be thinking, well, I don't get enough quality applicants how it is. I don't get enough like people that want to work for me how it is. There's no way that I would be able to get who I'm looking for by putting my potential employees like through the ringer, the way that that you three just described. But the big difference there is usually going to come down to that quality ad that we first talked about, that all three of you do a great job of selling your companies as being awesome employers that people would want to work for. And when you do that, then you have the luxury of making them jump through hoops in order to work with you, right? So if people aren't willing to sit here and do that for you in the first place to join your company, it probably means you're not selling your company hard enough to those cleaners. Okay, we're gonna segue in here because of Debbie's last comment. So everyone in the group wants to know about no-shows. If I heard that correctly, Debbie, you were saying that even you have like 50% no-shows, and it sounds like you and your team just count on it. Like you guys just expect like 50% no-shows. Did I hear that right?
It's a numbers game. That's all it is. And if you understand the numbers, you won't get upset about them. It's a numbers game. In our field, we will contact about 50%, and maybe half of them would we be interested after we've contacted them and had a discussion. We may weed them out over the phone, age or eligibility. And then of those that we liked, we're probably a little better than half will show up.
Okay.
But for sure, only half would we even consider. But probably maybe a little better than half, but it can be as high as half the people we invite. So we make sure we've done nothing to make it an inconvenience.
Okay, gotcha. And Pam, how's your like no show rate? Yeah, like what are your thoughts on that? Just like in terms of approaching it.
Yeah, so the next question actually was about our follow-up and scheduling process. So let me maybe just, run through that pretty quickly. We have an online job application that everybody has to fill out. And so one of the questions was, where do we post the ads? And like a lot of people, we post on Indeed, but a lot of people for Indeed, they just click something and they send the resume and they think that's an application. So like what Elena was saying, if they're not willing to go to my website and fill out my application, where all of my information is in an order that is useful for me, then I'm not interested in talking to that person. So let's say I get 100 applications, maybe only 50 of those are even minimally interesting to me, have the basic criteria that I'm looking for, even though I specified it in the ad. Of those 50, let's say we reach out to 50 of them, 10 of them we're not going to reach at all because their phone number is disconnected or, just that fast. So you reach out to 40 people, maybe you have a conversation with 30 of them. Of the 30 that you speak to, maybe 15 of them are invited to an in-person interview/skills test. Of the 15 that we invite, maybe 6 of them show up, and 3 of them we like. 3 of them we like. We make offers to 2 of them and we get 1. So as Debbie said, it is very much a numbers game. So you just know that going in, which was what I said at the beginning, which was if I knew this from the beginning and I didn't make myself crazy about it, and I just know, that's what to expect. We do very little in terms of following up. As Elena was saying, I like the obstacle course. I have hurdles. So they have to, at certain points through the process, they have to make the initiative and they have to do it at a certain time. Like after the initial phone call, I say to them, we say to them, call this number tomorrow at this time to set up your next step. If they don't do that, we're done. We don't call them anymore. If they call at the last minute to reschedule their appointment, they got a flat tire, they couldn't find it, whatever. These are people, if they can't even make it to the interview on time, it's just not going to work. So I don't really worry about trying to avoid no-shows. We schedule it at a time where she's somewhere where she was going to be there anyway. If they show up, fine. If they don't, again, I feel like, oh, I dodged a bullet because this person's not reliable. So I'm glad that I found that out now. So, yeah, it's not really a problem.
Cool. Elena, how about you?
Well, I would say we had a lot of no-shows until we developed this obstacle course. Because the people who go through all these obstacles and go through the entire process, we get their references checked, we interview them by Skype, and then they're supposed to show up for job test as the last step. It's very unlikely that the person who went through all these hoops, is just gonna just say, no, I'm not gonna show up, So, but it does happen once in a while, but it's much, much lesser rates. And also the reason why we're doing Skype interviews is, to avoid wasted time through no-shows. And it's just a lot easier in terms of availability for everyone. And also I want them to figure out the technology. People who can't figure out how to use Skype should not be working for us. It's just the way it is. We use a lot of technology, so.
Yeah. that seems like a good strategy. Let's see how this person deals with frustration. All right, let's schedule a Skype call with them and see how they deal with that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
some people can, and they will say, I want them to say, okay, I can't use the Skype, but let's use FaceTime.
Yeah.
Or can I do something? So I want the initiative. I don't want them to say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And well, it can't work for us. We require a little more.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, cool. So yes, for everyone watching, even for these three hiring all-stars, no-shows are just like another part of the day. It's like I like that you guys all seem to schedule around that. Of like Debbie, you were saying that you just stack up all for like your office manager to come in. Pam was saying that she schedules all of like the interviews at a time that the hiring manager was gonna be there anyways, right? So it's no real like water off the back or whatever to make that happen. And then Elena using the Skype interviews to sort of get through and like make them invest more before bringing them in. It seems like you guys are doing a bit to make it so, not to prevent no shows, but to make it so that no shows hurt less.
Let me add something. That is a
Yeah.
really smart millennial technique for all the cleaning business owners that still have the business in their home. Is adding Skype interviewing is so much better for the business owner that has to leave and meet them at a coffee shop and wait for a no-show, or it takes the intimidation out of come to my home and interview in my house.
Yeah.
I think that's a really brilliant solution to a business that maybe doesn't have an office yet. Really good solution.
Definitely. Do you guys? This was not. I'm sorry. I'm gonna throw a question out here that I didn't prepare you guys for. But do you guys have people apply with any sort of video like ahead of time instead of doing something live, of maybe having them record like a 3 or 5 minute video so you can get a feel for like sort of like body language and how natural they are? Or any of you guys like doing that, or have you considered that?
I've seen that done with another software company, but no, we haven't done that.
Okay.
Seems smart. We don't do it.
I
Okay.
tried it in my other business project that I have, and so I was looking for an intern, and for that particular position, I needed somebody who's very resourceful and very comfortable with technology. So in my Indeed app for that position, I put down, please don't apply through Indeed. Email me the video of you describing why you're such a great candidate. And one guy only applied through the video, and he's amazing. I hired him. He still works for me. He's awesome.
Okay.
But I think for cleaners, they will be a little bit shy. That a lot of our people who work for us, they're really shy. They're camera shy. They hate being on camera. So
Yes.
You're kind of asking them to do something that really won't be a part of their jobs. So
True.
you will probably thin the good candidates that would look at that and go, what? Now at my office, they may be on camera at any given time. They might be interviewed on TV. It could come in handy, but it probably would run off some great candidates that are very camera shy.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea, Amar. It's cutting edge.
Yeah, definitely. No, your team saw that when I visited a couple of months ago. We just walked into the office. I'm like, hey guys, you're on Facebook Live right now. So,
one of the first things we ask somebody before they come to work in our office is, "You're not real camera shy, are you?"
Nice. Okay. I wanted to go back.
One more simple
Go
piece
ahead, Pam.
of technology is because FaceTime is, if you have an iPhone, but you can also use the Facebook Messenger. In Facebook Messenger, you can actually make a call. So that's another option just for technology.
Definitely.
Yeah, we do that sometimes.
Okay, cool. All right, we're jumping around a little bit. So going back to what Pam was saying a couple of minutes ago, Pam was talking about where she lists her ads and where she finds her applicants. And Pam, actually, if you wanted to start on that and like just tell us like all the places, I'd want to know from you guys. Yeah, like a lot of people want to know, are you using Indeed? Are you using Craigslist? And essentially what's working for you guys? And then as sort of like a follow-up, because I know that like all three of you are helping, other maid services and stuff. What are the ones that you guys use and have found that work best best for your business, and then what are the ones that you recommend that, you know, all the residential maid service businesses try for themselves, even if maybe they didn't work for you? So Pam, if you want to go first on that one.
Yeah, you know, I know people are wishing that there's a magic bullet, that if they could just put their ad right here, then all the high quality people would come there and it would be done and simple. And unfortunately, I don't think that's true. You know, there's different avenues that work better in different markets. So I think you have to try all of them, with the one exception of monster.com. I would never use them or recommend them. But yeah, Craigslist, Facebook, Indeed, ZipRecruiter. Uh, People resist paying to do recruiting, and I think that's a mistake. I think just like you're willing to pay, you know, to have a marketing budget to look for your ideal customer, I think you have to be willing to spend some money to look for your ideal applicant also. So one of the things that I've seen a lot of people talking about that I think works really well is the way you have maybe a car magnet, or if you have your car wrapped, you could also put that you're hiring, because as your business is growing, you're going to be hiring all the time. You're always hiring, you're always interviewing. So have your, you know, website. We have with my coaching business, Build My Cleaning Business, we have a job app that you can use. So even if you don't have a website, you know, we add your URL so that you can give that, you can use that in your ad as a way for people to fill out an online application. So you could post that on your car magnet or on your wrap or in you know, and I think that is as effective as, you know, going to help wanted places. They're like, let's say if you're cleaning a house and your workers are there and they have the magnet on their car, somebody that lives in the neighborhood may be looking or may know somebody that's looking. So you may find workers in unexpected places. So you want to have that information that you're hiring out and available all the time.
Gotcha. Debbie, do you want to go next?
Sure. You're always marketing for employees in this business. So we believe, just like marketing, there is no one silver bullet that's going to attract all your customers. And there probably won't be one source that will attract all your employees. So we post on Indeed, ZipRecruiter. We still use the printed classified ads, and they post online to all the major job boards. I think Monster is one of them, but they post to all of them. And people literally still respond to some classified ads in this industry. Care.com, paid Facebook advertising, and mom groups. A couple of people from my office will jump in some of the private mom groups and post that we're hiring and we're looking for the best, and you can get paid to get really fit. And then we'll use the Chamber of Commerce, the newsletter that goes out to thousands, because even though it's business owners, they all have nieces and nephews and wives and sisters and neighbors. So my philosophy is you need to be in a lot of places, because there probably isn't one amazing place that will produce all the candidates you need.
Okay, that makes sense. Elena, where are you finding most of your applicants? Or where all of your applicants?
Well, we had the best success with Indeed. We tried everything, just like you're saying. We tried everything, and we got the most traction from Indeed. I would say 98%, if not more, 99% of applicants from Indeed are flaky or low quality. However, because of the huge volume of applications we get, we do, you know, get some good ones once in a while, and we end up hiring them. But the absolute best source of candidates is the referrals, word of mouth referrals from our current and former employees. And I would say I personally beg each of our employees at least 5 times to bring me whoever they have who is just like them, who has the similar work ethics and who has similar attitudes and similarly hardworking. And so a lot of them, even though if they don't have anyone right now, but someday they do, you know, their friend moves into town, their sister wants to find a better job. And so they end up bringing them. I have the entire families working, like mothers and fathers and the kids and sisters-in-laws, they're all working for us and they're all amazing. So, I mean, I would say that's by far the best. Even our former employee, she ended up working for Catholic Charities. And so she helps a lot of people who just freshly immigrated into this country and they need help to get up and running. And so she refers a huge amount of applicants to us.
Okay.
So.
Nice. Very cool. Okay. I think we only have one or two questions left for today, and then, well, you guys can obviously let me know if there's any questions that we've missed or anything. So one of the things that that popped up from quite a few people that were that were commenting and stuff is setting expectations with your hiring, like with your applicants and everything. That a lot of people seem to be running into the problem that maybe because it's like a low income or like closer like to a minimum wage type job, that people think it's going to be easy and they don't realize like how labor intensive it can be, and essentially like what the job actually entails. So like this actually might get more like into your training program depending on like where you guys sort of split the line between hiring and training. But like what sort of things are you guys doing to make sure that all of your applicants, or especially the ones that are getting really deep into the process, that they're like aware of like the work involved and like the hours and like and stuff like that? Like just what do you guys sort of do there to make sure that everyone's on the same page? Let's see, Elena, do you want to go first on this one?
Sure. We actually make it quite clear at every step of the application process. I even recorded a video where I plead with people and say, it's really, really hard job. You'll be crying, you'll be tired, you'll be exhausted. It is not a close to minimum wage job. We pay really well, and they make really great tips. And I tell them, even during the interview, sometimes you'll see the person and they just look very fragile. And so I'll tell them, you know what, you're a lovely person. I would love to work with you. This job will be physically extremely demanding. I mean, in terms of, I would say our clients are very, very picky. They have really high standards. And so comparatively, when you work for, say, a hotel, even though it's a high stress, but it's not as demanding physically because you only do same motions all the time, and it's basically light cleaning, the hotel cleaning versus the, cleaning for our clients. Sometimes we do a lot of move outs, for example. It's like dredging out all this grime that was embedded for years, out of there. That takes a lot of physical force. So I make it quite clear because I don't want to waste their time and I don't want them to waste our time. So it's in the application process, it's in our ad, it's in our orientation video, and of course, the first job test they're given is to actually, some dirty work that's really hard to do, like even though it's brief. So we kind of watch their attitude. If they say, oh, that's really, really, then we know it's just not going to work.
Okay, gotcha. So you're throwing him in on the deep end then.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
Pam, what's your approach?
We have a conversation we call the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I love that.
So during the interviewing process where we're talking about how wonderful it's going to be to come and work for us, and all of these wonderful things, we also say these are the things that are not so fun. So I just want you to think about, and that's part of the reason why, for probably the first 10 or 15 years that I had my cleaning business, I only hired people who had cleaning experience, because I felt like I don't have time for people to figure out that they don't want to do this, that this is gross or disgusting. That's fine. It's not for everybody, but I need you to already have figured that out before you come to work for me. But I don't know, over the last 15 years or so, I've kind of loosened up on that a little bit, but I compensate for that by letting people know in the conversation what they can expect, especially for house cleaners, because people say, well, I've cleaned my own house, and so we let them know, but that was your family. Those are people that you love. I want you to think about, cleaning splatter out of a toilet that is not a family member. I mean, I want you to think about, so I think, expectations involve a really clear, good communication. It's better to scare people off and be really forthcoming and honest about I have talked to people about, maybe you might start when you first come and you'll be wearing a XX t-shirt, and then in, a month you'll come back to me and you'll ask me for, an extra large because you will have lost weight.
Nice.
We had somebody that applied that was, really seriously overweight, and, we discussed, we just don't think that, the cardio requirements of this job that you're going to be able to keep up. So I think it's, I don't necessarily say that it's hard work, but I want them to know exactly what the work is, to be very clear about what they can expect. We screen people for things like, we're not going to clean up pet waste or biohazards or hoarding situations. But, you're going to be dealing with grease in kitchens and, baked on dried food and, pet hair everywhere. So I think it's just important, in order to make sure that we don't miss some of these kinds of things, we have a checklist of items that we need to cover during this discovery process so that we make sure that we didn't forget to mention some of the things. And it's not just about the cleaning. Like, one of the things that we say is, my car is broken down, my kids are sick, my husband had to work late, and so he didn't come home with the car for me to get to the job. These are not acceptable reasons for you to not be able to go to work tonight. So we just want to explain that to you right up front, that it's going to be important for you to think about some problem solving and have a backup plan in advance, because going to work every day is one of the key components to being successful in this job. So that's part of where we come with the good, the bad, and the ugly. We just let them know early on, and frequently these are the things that have been problems in the past. So, if this is a thing, like I had a gal that was applying that had migraine headaches, and with migraines, you just never know. I mean, when it's going to come, and you just can't predict it. So this isn't that job for you where if you don't show up, there's 18 other people and we all just sort of pitch in. It's not that job. So I think just clarity and communication is really important.
Awesome. That makes perfect sense. Debbie?
Well, we address a couple of things up front during the interview. One of the first things we say is, this job is hard at first. And if you can get past the first 6 to 8 weeks, where pretty much every bone in your body will ache, probably the first 3 to 4 weeks, as you build stamina, you will decide this job isn't as hard as I thought. But the first few weeks, this will probably be the hardest job you've ever done. But we also share some hope that if you ask any one of my employees that have been with us months or years, do you think this job is hard? Their answer is no. We're working in air-conditioned homes. So we try to set the expectation up first that in the beginning it will be hard, and if you can handle it and you're willing to build stamina, it will actually be easier within a few weeks. The second thing we make very clear in the job interview is part-time is not an option. That's not the way it is for every company, but it is for mine. And so you will be expected to be able to handle a full schedule within a few weeks. And so if you can't do that, if within a week you decide I can't cut the mustard, then that's fine. We can part ways. And then we also get them in the field very quickly. We don't do orientation for a day. Get them in the field. They experience exactly what this job is like. And usually within 1 or 2 days, the week will fade away and they'll drop out of the train. We won't have invested a week or 2 weeks of time into them. But cleaning, typing tests, and if they haven't done it before, you really don't know until they do it if they have the stamina or the physical ability to keep up. And so we realize some of them they just can't.
And do you have any idea what the ratio is there, right? Like if you had 10 people that you decided to bring on and to put in field for, like, let's say that initial week, would you expect like 3 of them to drop off, 5 of them to drop off? Like approximately what's that like rate, do you think?
I would say, I mean, I haven't done the hiring in so long, it's hard for me to remember, but it's, I would say 60 to 70% of the people that we start will go ahead and complete the training and work. But there's probably 3 out of 10 that
that
day
won't.
2, they're like, this is for me.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay, guys. Final question. It's a two-part question for you guys. So, to sign us off here, if there was one book that you would recommend for people to read on hiring, what would that one book be? And then the second part of the question, I don't know how really related they are, but are you guys trying anything new right now in your hiring process? Is there anything that you're just doing differently in 2017 that you haven't done in the past? Yeah, that's the last question. Pam, do you want to go first on this one?
No, I don't, because I have to think about a book. That you didn't warn me of that one.
I just got a
Uh,
note from Chris saying, ask them what book they like. I'm like, oh God,
you know,
okay.
there's a book that I really
Writing my
like,
book.
and it's not so much about hiring. Well, I like the E-Myth.
Hmm.
I saw somebody just recommend to Elena, I think, or recently, it was a Dan Kennedy book about um, the No BS series
Yeah,
about
No BS Guide to
deals.
Management or Hiring, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, and I ordered it on Amazon. I flipped through it a little bit, online, and it looked interesting to me. Um, I do like How to Win Friends and Influence People, I guess,
Okay.
by I think it's Dale Carnegie.
Yeah.
I really like that. And yeah, some of the new or different things that we're trying is we're doing less with phone calls and more with text and Skype and technology in general, I
Okay.
would say. So that's my wrap-up answer.
Cool. Let's see. Debbie, I think you just grabbed a book off your actual bookshelf, so we're gonna let you go next.
I was trying to think of what was my favorite book that I could actually recommend, but I wrote down 3.
Okay.
Absolutely everybody has to read The Energy Bus, and I held an entire 3-hour training conference with my employees one year, and we bought them all these cute little yellow die-cast school buses, and I taught the principle and the concept of the energy bus. This is
Okay.
really great book for creating this mentality around the people that work for you. And then, believe it or not, Raving Fans, which is designed for customers, has so much in it that can transfer to the relationship that you have with your employees and creating a company culture.
Okay.
And then lastly, I would say any books on leadership are going to help you create a much better employee culture and will help you better guide and lead your employees. So any book on leadership. But I'd say my number one favorite right now this week is John Gordon, and it's spelled Jon, The Energy Bus.
Okay. Awesome. Elena, what would you recommend?
So the book that I'm enjoying and actually implementing in our company is called The Dream Manager. It's by Matthew Kelly, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is you basically create a dream program that's what we're doing for our employees, where the company will identify what the individual employee's dream is. For most of them are homes, their first homes. One of our employees wants to be a model, and one of our employees wants to buy a truck, or a $70,000 truck, whatever is that rocks their boat. And so we sit down with them individually, try to get them to open up, and then we try to work together with them on that dream. So for example, for the home, we put them together with a mortgage officer who is like a personal friend or very close to our company. And they tell them what the requirements are. We contribute towards down payment. We offer like credit counseling and personal finance management advice to them. And then we kind of work towards their dream. For the girl who wanted to be a model always, we putting together calendar where our cleaners, who are actually quite good looking, they're gonna be in the calendar with the makeup and hair, and we'll sell the calendar to our clients and raise money for charity, for one of the charities that we assist and work for. So it's like a win-win-win across the board. So I would say
Nice.
It sounds really hokey, but I kind of threw it out there, and there was really nice engagement from the employees. They were all into it, so I highly recommend it.
That is really, really cool. Um,
Amar,
yes.
one more thing.
Go for it. Go for it.
So, I work with a business coach who says to me, and I think this is so true when we're talking about books, he says that being self-employed is actually a personal development program with a compensation package attached.
Yeah.
I love that.
So what I want everybody listening to think about is that in order to grow our businesses and to improve our hiring processes, it's going to require that we grow as leaders, as business owners, as hiring, persons. So I see a lot of comments about, people are lazy and they don't, the things that they do are unbelievable and nobody wants to work. And I know it can be frustrating and it can feel draining. But if we are having that sort of experience and that's the performance that we're getting in our company, the common denominator there is us. So I think, we need to kind of look to ourselves as the captain of the ship to sort of see, what we can do to change the circumstances in which we find ourselves. And so these books that we've been talking about, it's not like there's some exact recipe and formula. I mean, there is, but it's really about, Wayne Dyer says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I think that's really true. So I did want to close out with that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a pretty solid closeout, Pam. Well, while we have you in focus right now, do you want to let people know where they can get in contact with you, learn more about what you do, and can help them with, and then we'll go to Elena and then to Debbie to close out the panel.
Yes. So I'm a cleaning business coach. I only coach people in the cleaning business industry, and I've been in business here in Las Vegas this will be my 25th year. You can find me at buildmycleaningbusiness.com, or you can email me at pam@buildmycleaningbusiness.net. I am going to be presenting a workshop at the ARCSI event in September, and I'm actually going to be hosting a one-day workshop on my own on Friday, the day after the conference closes. Conference closes on Thursday. So if you're interested in that, it'll be one day with me. It'll actually be a day and a half. It'll be really intensive. So those are some options. I had a really good time, and thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for coming on, Pam. Elena, where can people learn more about you, potentially meet you in person?
Well, I will be at the conference as well, so I can't wait to meet everyone. I want to say I learned so much through your group, Amar, and including from Pam and from Debbie, of course. And so I had so many people reach out to me and say, ask me a question or exchange an idea or offer help. It's just been unbelievable. So I would say if you can think of something I could possibly help you with, just feel free to message me through the Facebook or email me. My email address is elena@superbmates.net. So I'll be always happy to either answer your question or direct you to someone who can. So.
Yeah. And when Chris and I have a minute, after this, we'll put together resources, links to all the books that have been mentioned. So if you guys are listening in, I know some people are having a little bit of trouble with the live feed. We'll have the recording up, which will be smooth, and we'll have links to all of these things, Elena's address and all of that stuff. So yeah, thank you again, Elena, for joining us. Debbie, you were closing it out.
All right. Well, thank you, Amar, for inviting all of us to participate. I think this is a really great service to the online community that really needs help. I hear so much pain in cleaning business owners' voice and frustration. Some of the posts, you can tell they really get down. This business can beat you up if you let it. So I started doing business consulting and training over 10 years ago, and I've helped hundreds of people all over the world fix their broken business or improve what's already working somewhat or improve their net profitability. So my husband and I bought the speed cleaning business from Jeff Campbell over 7 years ago. And we have the speed cleaning DVDs and books at speedcleaning.com. or you can, if you need help with your business, I can offer, although it may take a while to get on my schedule, I can offer a 20-minute free consult to help analyze your needs and how I can help you. And you can go to debbiesardone.com and just click on the consulting tab and fill out an inquiry. And Audrey will set up an appointment. I just can't guarantee how quickly that will happen.
Okay, very cool. Well, yes, thank you guys again for joining. For everyone still watching, you can meet. Actually, all four of us are going to be in Las Vegas in September. Myself and Mr. Christopher King here. Hang on, let's turn this around. Mr. Christopher King, my right-hand man over here at ZenMaid. We're going to be in Vegas, I think, a day or a couple days early. So we're looking at organizing a little ZenMaid like mastermind, like happy hour or something like that the night before the conference starts. So if you guys want to come join us for that, encourage that. You know, feel free to join us for any more of these, like these Facebook Lives and stuff. And of course, thank you again to all the experts for joining us. If you guys have any questions, you know, everyone here is very available and willing to help you guys out. So yeah, with that, I think we're going to sign off for the night. So thank you guys all again, all the viewers, all the experts. Love you guys.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys on the mastermind soon.
Thanks so much, Amar.
All right, see you guys
Bye,
later.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Christy.
you.